#vanlife.
Hi, and welcome to the second episode of Macabre. Today we're talking about the new movies Passenger and Corporate Retreat, and we're also talking about the rest of the horror movies that still are coming out in 2026, and we're going to rank them by how excited we are about them. So if you'd like to see that part of the episode and you don't care about Passenger and Corporate Retreat, feel free to just skip to that with the chapters. So first we're going to talk about Passenger, directed by Andre Øvredal. He also directed the movies The Autopsy of Jane Doe and Troll Hunter. He also did Dracula on a Boat. Troll Hunter and Autopsy of Jane Doe I feel are kind of mid-tier horror movies. But Dracula on a Boat I haven't seen, but I would like to. Let me know if anybody's seen that movie, comment what you think about it. For me, the 2-hour runtime is a little concerning, but the trailer for Passenger, whenever I saw this trailer, it looked promising and it looked scary. It kind of reminded me of the movie Dead End, which is another kind of road trip horror movie, supernatural type thing. But ultimately, this movie ended up being much more silly and kind of less scary than what the trailer kind of led me to believe it would be.
Well, I thought, it wasn't, the greatest horror movie ever or anything. I still, enjoyed it, though. I was still, scared. I don't know. I was interested in the general concept of it. I don't know. A lot of people were hating on it, and then I was like, wait, okay,
I think that it's a very silly movie, which is fine, because I think a movie's allowed to be silly. Not every horror movie has to be, the most amazing, best scary thing ever. And this one, I think it was fun, and I just had fun with it in the theater. It's just a different kind of horror movie, rather than... They kind of marketed it as this very kind of scary, kind of serious thing, and it ended up not being that, and that's fine to me, that it's just a different type of horror movie. There can be different types of movies, and I can have fun with those different types and judge them on their different merits. Passenger, it's about a couple, Maddie and Tyler. They're starting to live in a van together. They have some relationship drama.
#vanlife.
And alongside that relationship drama, they start to experience some supernatural horror drama as well. So on the performances front, I did like Lou LaBelle's performance. She was the main girl.
I thought she was good.
So what did you think? Did you have any thoughts on the story?
Okay, well, there was one thing that I was thinking about after the movie. I was like, so I feel like they tried to bring in those religious themes, and I feel like that wasn't, it didn't feel fully fleshed out to me. I didn't really know exactly where they were going with that.
So this movie, it's kind of in the tradition of other road horror movies, but I would say that this one has more of a kind of James Wan universe supernatural bent to it than I've seen in other road horror movies. So basically, whenever I was watching it, a phrase that popped in my head was "The Conjuring in a car." Even though it's not in a car, it's in a van, but I just like the alliteration. But basically their van becomes haunted, and the religious stuff that you were talking about had to do with a necklace of the patron saint of travel, bringing in these religious things, as well as a van life community. They're talking about these hauntings in relation with kind of urban legend type things. So it's just a road urban legend, road horror stories. And I thought that the van life community scenes were really cheesy. The whole movie is pretty cheesy and over the top, but those scenes really stuck out to me.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
One particular member of the van life community, she was played by Melissa Leo, and she gave a really funny kind of standout performance, honestly, that I thought worked really well in the movie. I think she did a good job, just really leaning into a campy tone. Yeah, she gave an excellent, funny standout performance as Exposition Machine Lady. I thought that was really funny. She just kept saying, all of this different backstory, and she
Yeah.
just kept going. And it got to a certain point where she just kept saying so much backstory. We were like both, I was kind of looking at
No,
you
we
laughing.
were laughing.
Like,
It's like, is this supposed to be foreboding, or like, what is this? What is her performance? I don't even know.
it was funny. She kind of,
It was
I
fun.
feel like she really elevated the camp aspect of the movie.
I was interested as to what they would do with like different settings. So I liked that they brought in different settings like that, but
Sometimes, so they're in that camp, but they're not in it for that much of the movie. But besides that, the other settings are like the woods, and I'm like, okay, yeah, obviously you're gonna put a horror movie in the woods a lot of the time because that does make it scarier. And then like a parking lot, you know, a parking lot can be scary. The settings kind of went along with kind of that this was a lower budget movie.
yeah.
And even though, like, okay, some aspects of this movie, because it's in the woods, are scary, a lot of the time, just even in that setting, things ended up being funny to me as they kept going along, as the scenes kept progressing.
Sometimes they would just like keep going on and on, like trying to build tension, and I don't know if that made it more or less scary. I really can't remember.
One thing that also kind of goes with the lower budget is the visual effects, the special effects, CGI kind of stuff.
Whenever I couldn't really see exactly what the face looked like, it was more scary.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
once
yeah.
I actually like could see what he looked like and stuff, it kind of became less scary.
Yeah,
If
that
it
makes a lot of sense because I didn't, once you could see the actual antagonist's character design, I did not like his character design.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of that had to do with, once he was closer, kind of the shortcomings with the movie's budget started to show through because of how the antagonist actually looked. And whenever you keep him further away, then you can't see those shortcomings as much. So ultimately, I just thought that the antagonist's look was a little silly and cheap looking.
Yeah.
So this whole movie is kind of steeped in a funny tone, and I think that really helps me enjoy it more. Even with some of, let's say, the special effect shortcomings and the silliness of the supernatural threat, just all of those things with the tone worked together for me to actually have fun with the movie and not take it seriously. So I actually walked away from this movie having enjoyed it and having fun. A positive that I found was on the technical side because I liked the cinematography. I noticed kind of at the beginning they were using this kind of 360 cinematography, like with the camera kind of on a swivel. And I also liked how sometimes they would have the camera like following the characters. I just thought that brought in some more liveliness to the movie. So I appreciate that they were kind of going above basic cinematography in that way.
Parking lot.
What?
The parking lot.
The parking lot.
That had a lot of the
Oh, the 360.
the 360.
It was funny how you just said parking lot.
I didn't know what else to say.
And then also on the technical side, I liked some of the sound editing that they used. So they would use like sounds of the keys jangling and footsteps. In those technical aspects, I thought it was successful. But the special effects could use a little work, but you know, I'm not gonna completely hold that against it because of the low budget. Now, one thing that I will kind of hold against it a little bit is I wish that there is some good gore in this movie. Like there is one instance of like really good gore, but I really think that they could have gotten some more people on board with this movie if they had a couple more instances of really good gore, because I think that that's just something that is missing from this movie. And if you're gonna make a dumb horror movie, you can win more people over if you have more gore, more standout scenes with that, because then people will just talk about it and be like, oh, the movie wasn't that great, but there's a couple of gore scenes you have to see kind of conversation.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're right. There really wasn't a whole lot.
So yeah, walking away from the movie, I just kind of wished that there were a couple more gore scenes, and I think that that's kind of a missed opportunity. But yeah, overall this movie is silly, it's fun, it's overdramatic, but it knows that it's overdramatic, and it kind of stays within the constraints of the story that it wants to tell. It doesn't really try to reach beyond its limits. It just kind of is like, okay, I know I'm gonna be an over-the-top, dramatic, supernatural, silly movie, and that's what it goes for. And I think, honestly, it succeeds in that aspect. So yeah, it's silly, but I had fun with it. It's just kind of a low-budget, Conjuring-style road horror movie.
Yeah, I think overdramatic is a good word. And I was still frightened sometimes, so I think overall, yeah, it was fine.
So, Corporate Retreat, this is, a movie about a corporate retreat that goes wrong, because it's a horror movie, so stuff is gonna go wrong. This movie is very silly also, but it also knows that it's very silly, so you kind of have to be bought into that tone to get any enjoyment out of this movie. And I kind of was a little bit along for the ride with it, just to see where it takes that story. Just I was on board because of that tone, and because of, I could tell it knew what it was and that it was silly. The actors knew that it was silly, I could tell.
Yeah.
Because
no, that's true.
The movie is dumb, and it knows that it's dumb, and so the actors know that too, and they are being really hammy.
Okay, I feel like this is a silly horror movie that I can't fully get behind. At some point, I just started to get over it, and I'm not really one for, like, the amount of, like, gore and stuff that you just have to watch, like it gets so repetitive, I feel like.
And it wasn't very well done. You couldn't, because of the low budget, I think that some of the gore you could not really see, and they didn't shoot it super well.
Yeah, like, I mean, we were the only ones in the theater, and, like, we were both laughing a lot, and so, like, I don't know, like, it was funny, but it was kind of ridiculous, and I don't know, like, it just wasn't very good in my opinion. But
yeah, so the reason why both Corporate Retreat and Passenger, they are both silly. I will say I did have my moments and enjoy Corporate Retreat, like, somewhat, not completely, but I did not hate it. I did somewhat enjoy it. But the reason that I enjoyed Passenger more is because Passenger just had that supernatural, over-the-top element and just had more crazy things happening. Corporate Retreat, you could really see kind of the constraints of the budget, but not just the budget, the constraints of a limited idea. There really isn't that much in the script. I really feel like the director did not have that much of, like, a passionate vision or, like, an expanse of an idea that he wanted to put to screen. So that, I feel, really held the movie back. But I will say that the actors, they know what movie they're in, and they play to that tone, especially with their line deliveries.
Yeah.
And so my favorite performances were by Kirby Johnson and Alan Ruck. And I was glad that Alan Ruck was in this movie, because I'm always down for an Alan Ruck performance.
His performance, I probably laughed a lot. His line deliveries. Oh, there was someone named Aubrey in the movie.
Oh yeah.
So that was funny. It was like, oh, they just said my name.
No, yeah, I definitely agree on the Alan Ruck line deliveries. I just think he's a great actor, and even though this was a dumb movie, he and everyone else, I feel, are really giving their all to it for some reason.
Oh my gosh. And there was a guy from the show Never Have I Ever.
I have not seen that.
He plays like a really dumb character in that show, so I feel like he kind of did level up a bit.
But yeah, so Alan Ruck's character, the character was very surface level, but I feel like he did what he could with it, and he did pretty well for what material he was given. Yeah, I mean, so as far as the gore, like with the low budget, you could tell that they were kind of editing in a way that the gore would work with their low budget. I know I was kind of like, ugh, the gore wasn't well done. I don't know how fair it is to level that against them as a criticism, because I could tell that they were trying, but I really feel like it could have been better on that front.
I mean, some parts of it I just didn't want to watch, like just because it was just gross and I didn't like the sounds. And then I also just felt like the characters weren't like fully fleshed out. So I didn't really care about them very much, except yeah, I don't know, but it was like fine. Yeah, it was funny at times, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna say don't run out to see this one in theaters, but if you like dumb stuff, then you might have some fun with it. The only standout of the movie is the actors' performances, because I really was pretty surprised with how much they were bought into just a dumb movie like this that really is not saying or doing anything groundbreaking. So it was kind of entertaining to be like, oh wow, these actors are really, really hamming it up and going for it.
I said shoot in the leg, not kill them.
I got nervous.
So I ultimately like Passenger better because it gets more silly and more over the top due to the supernatural elements. And Corporate Retreat gets over the top, but only with the performances. And so while the performances in Corporate Retreat were fun, that can only get you so far in a movie if your script and your idea is not all the way there to make an actually good movie. This is a dumb, fun kind of movie, but honestly, like, I can't even say that it was that fun.
I don't think it was very fun.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend Passenger over Corporate Retreat, but I can't even recommend Passenger to everyone. I would say only see that one if you are wanting something silly. So I ranked most of the horror movies that are still to come in 2026, and I put them in tier lists from D to A. So we're going to start with the D tier list with Affection. So this one is starring Jessica Roth from the Happy Death Day movies. The trailer, whenever I watch the trailer, the movie looks like it could be like ranging from fine to good, but the reviews that I'm reading about it are pretty negative. And so it sounds kind of like a derivative type of movie, so I don't really have high hopes for this one, and I'm not sure if I'll ever get around to watching it because those reviews kind of discouraged me. Okay, and then next is Violent Night 2. So we saw the first one, and it's kind of wisecracking John Wick Santa, which is not my thing, definitely not my humor either, so I'm not excited for this one. I don't think it's going to be good. I haven't seen like any materials from it, but I just don't think it's going to be good.
I'll definitely watch it when it comes out and see if it's fun.
And also in this one, they have Kristen Bell as Mrs. Claus. I'm not sure if my sense of humor is going to work with that. Okay, so next is Colony. This just premiered at Cannes. It's directed by Yeon Sang-ho, who made Train to Busan. And hot take, I don't really like Train to Busan. And as far as Colony, the reviews for it are not looking super promising. My only thought is maybe there is such a thing as too many zombies in a movie.
I thought it looked fine.
Okay, so next is Godzilla Minus Zero. And I generally like Godzilla. I like Godzilla movies. I like him as a character. I like his vibe. But I did not enjoy the movie Godzilla Minus One. And this movie is by the same director as that one. So I don't have high hopes for this. From the teaser trailer for Godzilla Minus Zero, it was very short, but even from that, I will say I did not like what I saw. I just didn't like the vibes of it. I didn't mesh with the vibes and what seems to be the tone. And I didn't like the tone of the first one either, so I'm just gonna say this one is probably also gonna be a miss for me. Okay, so next is Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, directed by Jane Schoenbrunn. I don't like Schoenbrunn's previous movies, so I am skeptical of this one. The trailer does remind me of the movie Censor, which I like, but something that I'm worried about with this movie is that it will be style over substance.
I'm intrigued by the trailer. Yeah, I thought it looked interesting with like the visual style overall, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I'll go in with an open heart, but I just don't have high expectations given my opinions on Schoenbrunn's previous movies.
I feel like that you hear about there's like shark movies and there's like alligator movies and stuff, but I've never heard of a hippo movie.
Yeah, they're breaking new ground. So this one is a new creature feature horror, and it looks mid-tier, but that's okay. I'm kind of expecting like mid-tier creature feature fun. So earlier this year we got a sadistic chimp with Primate, and now we have a sadistic hippo. So it's a big year for sadistic animals.
You're safe as long as you stay out of the water.
Okay, so Victorian Psycho. This one's directed by Zachary Wiggin, who directed the movie Sanctuary, which I haven't seen yet. But this one is starring Micah Monroe. She's in Longlegs, It Follows, and Watcher. And it's also starring Thomasin McKenzie from Jojo Rabbit, Last Night in Soho, and Old. This one, it looks like a horror comedy. I'm not sure if the tone will work for me, but it could. From the trailer, it looks like it has some pretty interesting artistic elements with like the cinematography and the editing. It looks like they're doing some interesting stuff there, especially with like the scenes where the camera, it seems like it's like affixed to her head, like in front of her face.
Oh yeah.
That kind of reminds me a little bit of some of the cinematography from 28 Years Later. But yeah, it looks like Micah Monroe, she gave a good performance in this one.
I like horror comedy, so it looked interesting. It looked like it could be a good time.
Okay, so next is Clayface. This one is directed by James Watkins. He did the Speak No Evil remake, Eden Lake, and The Woman in Black remake. And this is also starring Naomi Ackie, who I think is a great actress. The teaser doesn't show very much, but this looks like it could be scary. And I like the other superhero horror movie that I've seen, Brightburn. So I'm interested to see like what else can come out of like a superhero horror subgenre crossover, because I think that's kind of untapped material, especially with, you know, how I really thought Brightburn was really good, and I just feel like more movies should be made with that kind of angle.
I like the concept and making it horror. I think that's cool.
And then, yeah, releasing right around Halloween. So we'll see how the box office plays out with that. I think some of it could have to do with how they do the next trailer and what people think about that. Okay, next is Scary Movie. This one is just called Scary Movie in requel fashion. They didn't go with Scary Movie 6. So I've seen all the Scary Movies. The first one is my favorite, followed by the third and fourth ones. I like Anna Faris and Regina Hall. They're like my favorite aspects of the Scary Movies, and they're back for this one, so I'll see how they are in it. But from the trailer, it looks like, you know, they're having fun, they're giving a good performance. I don't think all the comedy will work for me, but I did really like the why just half gay line.
That was funny. I mean, I can't really say much about this one because I haven't seen any of the other Scary Movies, but some of it did look funny.
We're here to drink, play bad music, do some half gay shit.
Why just half gay?
So next is Insidious Out of the Further. This was directed by Jacob Chase, who directed 2020's Come Play, which I actually haven't seen yet. So this one, it stars Amelia Eve, who was very charming in The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh! Wait! Oh my gosh! Okay, I love her.
And then it also stars Brandon Perea, who was in Nope. And then, of course, Lynn Shay is returning as an Insidious mainstay, because how could she not?
Mm.
And then this also stars Laura Gordon, who was in Late Night with the Devil, Saw 5, and the upcoming Wolf Creek reboot. I've seen the Insidious movies except for 3 and 4. I'll watch 3 and 4 just for completionist's sake, but none of the Insidious movies are very good, in my opinion. Now, one thing I did think from the trailer is that the scenes with the demons, basically they're like, oh, a bunch of demons are infiltrating the real world. And I think that some of those scenes, just the scenes with the demons in general that they showed in the trailers, look like they have potential to be funny. So that actually made me kind of a little more excited for this movie, because I just feel like I could have some fun with it.
Dude, when she can't get out of the play fort thing.
Yeah, like...
And the head pop off. Ah!
So I just feel like some parts of it could be fun. Do I think it would be a very good movie? No, because the Insidious movies just don't have a good track record. But I think that it could have some fun merits. But the other parts of it, besides the potential for the demon scenes to be funny, the rest of it looks very generic. So I'm not gonna have high hopes for this. I think it could be just mid-tier. Next is Ice Cream Man. I like Eli Roth generally. I generally like his movies. I don't like all of them, but I like them more than not. And the original Ice Cream Man, I think, was just okay. But this one, I like the setup from the trailer of like the evil or possessed kids. I think that could be fun. And I also like the aesthetic of the movie that was shown in the trailer so far. So I'm cautiously optimistic about this one. One more thing I wanted to say about this is that it stars Karen Cliche. She had a particularly key role in Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. Just based off of what her role was in Thanksgiving, the fact that she's in Ice Cream Man makes me more excited for it. So yeah, cautiously optimistic for this one. Okay, so next is Other Mommy. This one is directed by Rob Savage, who did Host, Dashcam, and The Boogeyman. And it stars Jessica Chastain and Jay Duplass. There's no trailer for this movie yet. I'm excited for this movie because of Jessica Chastain and the fact that it's called Other Mommy. Yeah. I just feel like that's a great title. Okay, next is Backrooms. This is the feature directorial debut from Kane Parsons. And Kane Parsons is only 20 years old. This movie, it's starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renata Reinsve. I love Renata Reinsve, and Ejiofor is a great actor, so that's a really good basis for the movie, I think. That, just based off of the cast, I think that this one is promising. It also stars Mark Duplass, and I like him as well. So from the trailer, what I think is promising about this movie, just besides the cast, is the aesthetics of it, I think are really interesting, and it seems like it will have really good sound design. I know that there's an existing short film about the Backrooms, but I'm staying away from that one because I've just heard that it will be best to go in blind to this new one.
I think it'll be good. I think it's a cool concept, and I love that it was directed by someone who's like my age. That's kind of crazy. I think it'll be good.
And this one, like Obsession, the director started on YouTube. So that's pretty fun that there's this new movement of horror filmmakers who got their start on YouTube. So I think that's pretty fun. So next is Leviticus. I've heard this described as a conversion therapy horror, and from the trailer and the early reviews, it seems like this one is going to be very good. It's the feature directorial debut from Adrian Chiarella, and it stars Joe Bird. He was in Talk to Me, if you guys saw that. And it also stars Stacey Clausen, who was in the Netflix shark movie that just came out, Thrash. I haven't seen Thrash, so you guys can let me know how it is. And Leviticus also stars Mia Wasikowska, and I think she's pretty awesome, so hopefully this movie is good. From the trailer, it looks like it has really good cinematography and just good atmosphere, and the score also sounds like it will be good. People have been kind of comparing this to It Follows. From the trailer, I think that this one looks very promising.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one, and during Pride Month too. I will be sad. I just hope it's not too tragic.
Oh no. Oh, I didn't think about that. Okay, so now starting the A tier, first we have Buddy, directed by the Too Many Cooks director, Casper Kelly. So that's part of the reason why I'm excited about this one. He also directed a recent VHS Halloween segment called Fun Size, which I haven't seen. I still need to see VHS Halloween. The aesthetic of this is like dark and based in children's TV, so I like that kind of aesthetic of putting those two things together. Children's TV and horror, I feel like if you do it right, it can work really well. And based off of his past stuff that he's directed, I feel like that will be really effective, and I think he will do a good job with that. It also stars Kristen Milioti, and I love Kristen Milioti. With her and the director, I think it has some really good people involved in it, so I'm really excited for this one. So this year we have another Christmas movie from Robert Eggers, Werewolf. And I like Robert Eggers' movies. This one is also starring Willem Dafoe, Lily Rose Depp, and Aaron Taylor Johnson. They were also in the Nosferatu movie. And this one also stars Ralph Ineson, and he's really good. So I think that it's Robert Eggers in his bag of what he likes to make movies about. That same kind of drawing back on old stories, kind of mythical figures, content. Artistically, what he does is pretty impressive. So I feel like this one is pretty promising, and I think it should be good. But yeah, given the cast and Robert Eggers' track record with this kind of material, I'm sure this movie is good. Okay, so on these last three, it's getting really difficult for me to rank them. So just these are very close in the hype meter. We're gonna go to Terrifier 4. There is not really any material out for this one that I've seen, but just based off of the fact that it's a Terrifier movie, I'm very excited. I really like all of the Terrifier movies. My least favorite one is Terrifier 2 just because of the pacing, but I really feel like the kills make up for it. Yeah, I'm just a pretty big Terrifier fan, so I'm excited for this one.
I haven't seen the Terrifier movies because I didn't think I would like them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll give it a shot. We'll see.
And then next is Evil Dead Burn. I'm really excited for this movie because I absolutely love all of the Evil Dead movies. This one is directed by Sebastian Vanacek. He directed a French spider horror movie called Infested, which I really didn't like, but I really like the trailer for Evil Dead Burn just because I like the franchise so much.
Yeah.
I think that I'm gonna like this one, and just also based off of the trailer, it just looks like it's gonna be something I'm really gonna like. But yeah, this one is produced by Sam Raimi and executive produced by Bruce Campbell and Lee Cronin, and I trust them with this franchise, so I have faith that they guided this movie to the right place if they've put their stamp of approval on it. I think that this one is going to be really good. From the trailer, it looks like it's going to have good setups and payoffs, which is historically what Evil Dead movies are really good at. And also, Evil Dead movies have characters that you can get invested with. I feel like you can always be kind of aligned with them, and they're always, I feel, made by directors who are passionate about the franchise. So I'm really excited for that one. The filmmaking, the cinematography and editing looks really good, as I feel those aspects are always really good in Evil Dead movies and always really interesting and frenetic, lively. And from the trailer, I'm also getting some Final Destination Bloodlines vibes because it's centering around a family. So it seems kind of similar to that movie, just like the Deadites will be doing the killing instead of the Final Destination Death Force. So it seems like it will be a little bit of a similar flavor, just with the Evil Dead sensibilities and universe.
I don't know if I've seen all the Evil Dead movies, but the one that we went in theaters a few years ago,
Evil Dead Rise.
yeah, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
So I think this will be good too.
Okay, and our number one most anticipated horror movie coming out in 2026 is Resident Evil, directed by Zach Cregger. I loved Zach Cregger's Barbarian. Weapons, not so much, but from the Resident Evil trailer, it looks like Cregger is going to win me back because I feel like this trailer looks really good. So yeah, this one looks pretty action-packed and interesting.
That actor, it was the same actor from Weapons, and I really liked both Barbarian and Weapons, so I think it looked really good and kind of messed up, what is happening?
So yeah, it's Austin Abrams who's starring, and I think that he was the best part of Weapons. Yeah, I think this one will be really good. It also stars Paul Walter Hauser, who I really like. I think he's a great actor, and I think that I could really see him meshing with this world that's been presented in the trailer. So I really like the editing and the cinematography that we've seen so far, and it looks like it's gonna have good action sequences and hopefully good horror sequences as well. So I'm really excited for this one. All right, so those are our thoughts on Passenger and Corporate Retreat, as well as a lot of the horror movies that are going to be coming out for the rest of the year. Let us know if we forgot any horror movies that are coming out, and let us know what you thought of Passenger or Corporate Retreat if you saw those, as well as what movies from the rest of the year that you are most excited about seeing, and we can talk about them in the comments. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!